There is one other aspect of the AC distribution that I should have mentioned, and that is that there is a thermostat right here. So unfortunately, there was no easy path for the wiring to get it back to where it had to go, but it will, at 50 C, so when this plate gets to 50 C, it will turn off the entire box. And in fact, I think in the field that has gotten done on occasion, because if you put the covers on and let it run without any glycol circulating, it will overheat, and that will shut it off to keep you from making a pile of slag. The next step in the electrical part, and we're going to have to come back to talk about thermal control, and we should not forget to do that, but the next step in the electrical path coming in is these regulator boards. And there are 5 regulator boards, one for each of the science chips, KMTNet, and one for the guide chip. And in fact, this first one is the guide regulator. You can tell because it's got a G on the connector. And they plug into the capacitor board. So there are a single source of raw DC, which goes to all 5 regulator boards. And then that voltage is separately regulated for each system. So from there on, the 5 systems are separate and independent. And these boards, as I say, just plug into the regulator board. They are attached to this plate, which is cooled by cold plate, and we'll talk about that when we do the whole thermal control. And as I say, they just plug in like that. And then there's a connector on the other end of the regulator board, which carries the regulated DC voltage, one for each of the 5 systems in the box, KMT, N, and G. And that just snaps off like that. And so that's how you put a regulator board in. These black cables, and again there's one for each of the 5 systems, go down underneath and come up and plug into the motherboard. And let's pause for a second.